Welcome to Monday's episode, everybody. This one's going to be a little bit different, a little bit longer, because Udyr is finally fucking here.
Yeah, he is.
After, man, I know they announced him last year, but it feels like they've just been working on him for fucking forever.
Yeah, the old Udyr needed a lot of work, I guess, but he's here, and it should be pretty interesting. I haven't looked at any of these. I know you sent me the skills. I haven't looked at any of them yet.
Mm-hmm.
But I will tell you guys the first thing that I didn't like when I very first saw it was the splash art. I was not impressed by the splash art at all. It's very lackluster to me. Where when Volley's splash art came out, I'm like, okay. When Mundo's splash art came out, I was like, okay, I'm following you. But this splash art, I was like, huh?
Let's see. Got him on screen right now. I don't know. I don't. You said it was too dark. Like what?
It's very dark. Yeah.
I don't know. It. I don't think I have a problem with it. He's got the total dad bod going on, which is, I will
doesn't bother
say,
me at all.
I know that's awesome because normally they would just give him like a six pack. I feel
Right.
like, but no, he's like a fucking monk dude. That's just I don't know. I guess I don't have a problem with it. It just, but I can understand you're just saying the splash itself.
Yeah, when I look at the splash, my eye gets drawn immediately to his right fist. That's at the bottom left corner, sort of the entire piece of art, and it sort of wants to follow up and follow that band. He's tying his hand with a a fighting band, but it gets kind of lost. That the rest of that is so dark around him, that you, or at least my eyes, gloss over the fact that his belt has the horns on it, with the oran horns.
Mhm.
And it goes right up. It just kind of diagonally crosses, and you see the little fire on his left shoulder. And then immediately my eye goes to the blue ice on his right shoulder. But you miss the orange part. Your eye just goes right past it. And I figure if you're trying to show that as hey, this is kind of his new theme a little bit. It just it's a miss for me.
I mean, maybe they fix it up. They
I hope
brighten it,
so.
make
I
it
hope so.
because I think because I'm on this post on the subreddit that people were discussing about it because it looks like the bandage
Right.
is he's pulling it with the other hand, but it kind of just disappears.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it gets lost.
So I think so if you zoom in pretty far, you can kind of see it, but yeah, it just kind of they it looks like it's not finished.
Right. Right.
So
Now, black belt Udyr,
mm,
perfect. That's your Cobra Kai skin. I mean, with the yellow gi and everything, it's definitely Cobra Kai, and you can see Lee Sin in the background.
I like that.
Is that Rumble on his right?
I'm not
Off to the
sure
left
who
side?
that. It's a Yordle for sure, but I'm not sure who that's. I don't think that's supposed to be.
It may not be any particular Yordle, but yeah, having Lee Sin in the back is great. Um, Great splash art, very well done. They're gonna be a good skin. Hopefully, when we see the end game, it looks pretty dope.
Yeah, because this and Primal Udyr were just like horrible fucking skins.
Yeah, they were.
And
Primal's
these,
cool. Dragon Oracle is probably my favorite new splash art, or at
and
least
then
in terms of badassery.
right, and of course Spirit Guard. Spirit Guard's gonna look fuck. He looks so fucking good in game.
Does he?
Yeah, he looks so much fucking. It keeps the essence of Spirit Guard, but it just looks so much fucking better. But yeah, guys. I mean, if you haven't seen it, there's a teaser trailer, and then TurkQG they invited him over to Riot, and he play tested. He's got like a compilation video of him playing it, and he has a full gameplay of him playing it against rioters. It's not because he's not even on PBE yet, so they're probably still going to be tweaking things.
Right.
And when we get into the abilities here in a second, you're going to see that some of the wording is doesn't make sense. They're just not 100% done, but yeah, it'll be done in 2 weeks or whenever the fuck the next patch. Not this because should be a patch this week. No.
There should
Yeah,
be a
there
patch
should
on
be.
Wednesday. Yeah,
And then so he's another 2.5 weeks away.
at least.
So anyways, yeah,
At the very
let's
least.
get
So
to it, okay? Should we?
yeah, let's go for it. So I found on this website, gameort.com, they have everything typed out from the trick screenshots.
So let's
So
start
I'm
with
going
the
to use
passive.
that to cross-reference. So yes, Udyr's passive, Spirit Walker. Looks like there's two parts to it. So Awakened Spirit. Instead of a traditional ultimate, Udyr has 4 basic abilities that swap between stances. Udyr can recast his stance during its cooldown to awaken it, refreshing it with bonus effects. So that hasn't changed, if I'm not mistaken, right?
That's different because normally the second part is the same.
Okay. Okay. Monk Training is part 2. After using an ability, Udyr's next 2 attacks within 4 seconds gain 30% increased attack speed and refund 5% of Awaken's cooldown on hit.
It okay, so it's a little different because it before it was called Monkey's Agility, where it would stack 3 times based on how many him swapping between stances. It would give him attack speed and movement speed.
Ooh.
So this is primarily just attack speed, and then awaken. Each ability has an awakened effect, and you'll
Right.
understand what it
Okay.
means.
Okay.
I believe the numbers what because I'm looking at the Trick UG flash or
Yes.
picture. So I believe his passive it says 40 seconds, but it's affected by
Based on
C
level.
or I think it's ability haste. I think it might start at like 50 seconds, but every time you auto attack, it reduces it by 5 seconds, and that works against. I know it works against jungle creeps. I'm not sure if it works against lane minions. So that's one thing I'm just not 100% sure on.
No. Okay.
So anyways, yeah, let's move on to his Q. And the theme is these are all Freljordian gods that are all
Yes.
his abilities are based off of. So Q, Wilding Claw is basically Volibear. Udyr gains 25% attack speed for 4 seconds. Udyr's next 2 attacks in his stance maul the target to deal a bonus 3.2% max health physical damage. Now, again, that number is probably going to change. I'm not sure what the scaling on it is.
Right.
So more AD, it's probably going to be more max health.
Okay.
And then Awakened. So when he has so he'll like when that Awakened passive is up, he'll use Q, and then it'll have like another empowered trying to think of another champion that like I don't know if you played Rengar. Like when Rengar's empowered ability
Yeah,
is up, you can
right,
double
right.
cast it.
Right.
Same thing as this.
Okay.
So you use Q and then you use Q again and you get the Awakened, which is grants 34% additional attack speed, which looks like it probably scales up. During this time, Udyr's next 2 attacks call lightning to strike 6 times. So again, Volibear, each dealing up to 10.6% max health magic damage to isolated targets. So yeah, we're looking the dot has turned into a little bit
burst.
more like that's
a
a lot of
burst ability.
damage.
I got really worried, like I was following along as you're reading it, and like recognizing, like, okay, this is a Volibear ability. I got really worried when it says calls lightning to strike 6 times. I'm like, oh my god, if it's just a mini volley passive, that's so stupid. I was gonna be very upset if that's what it was, and I'm glad it's not.
It's
That would have been so
heavily
lazy.
yeah. It's I mean, well, come on.
It's
a lot
similar.
How many
It should be
champions have the same abilities?
Right, right. But I mean, if you just took Udyr and just be like, oh yeah, you get all these mini passives, that would be so fucking lame. You know what I mean? And so I'm glad it's not like that. I'm glad they decided, like, hey, let's find a way to change it up. Like, yes, inspired by, but let's change it a little bit. I like that idea. I like that idea. All right.
W.
Iron Mantle. Udyr's W. Mantle stance. Udyr gains shield for 4 seconds. Udyr's next 2 attacks in this stance additionally gain lifesteal and restore health on hit. The numbers show that he gains a 63 shield, but that's obviously health and AP scaling for 4 seconds. And then his next 2 attacks, say 10% lifesteal and restore 12, and that's another health and AP scaling health on hit. The Awaken bonus, shield increases, and Udyr regenerates health over 4 seconds. Stance life on hit and lifesteal bonuses doubled during this time.
That's
So
pretty
it says that
powerful.
right. So keeping with it, it says the shield is increased to 178, still scales with the same stuff, and Udyr regenerates 89, which looks like it scales with level, ability power, and health over 4 seconds. So that's pretty gross.
Yeah, I mean, we're taking Turtle and taking it to the next level. Now, I
Right.
don't know what someone. So in the video, when he switches his stance, he says, like power of the boar.
Okay.
And there is a Freljordian god that's a boar. At first, I was like, "Oh, Sejuani," but Sejuani's not a god. So there's another Freljordian god that is like a boar, and I've seen the name. I can't remember
Is
what the
it
fuck it's called.
Borhilda?
Is I don't know.
I don't know.
I guess you could look it up.
I'll look it up.
And a boar god. I know. Um, not okay. So the boar
Oh
is
yeah, the spirit gods. Here we go. Show me all the spirit gods.
the iron. It's like the iron boar. There's so many fucking Freljordian gods. The other thing that was interesting too is I believe like in
Oh, it's Ildharg.
yep,
Ildarg.
that's
Yep.
it.
Known as the
So
Iron Boar, Wrath of the Freljord, Warden of Sacrifice.
there you go. Um, so now I guess we're just waiting for that champion to come out.
Yep.
I do believe I think in his old lore he's Ionian,
Oh,
and
is he? Okay.
because I believe he was trained by Lee Sin, which would
Okay.
make sense. I mean, maybe he's not necessarily. Maybe they'll keep it. I'm not sure. I did see. I think I haven't read the comics, but you know they have some Freljord comics. They had
Yeah.
one that focuses on Sejuani, and there's something that hinted at that him being Sejuani's father.
Oh, okay, okay.
So I'm not sure if they're gonna. Well, obviously they're pushing more of the Freljord like background into him. So
Right. Also, it looks like Ildarg and Vinharg, who are other Freljordian gods, they must be part of Legends of Runeterra because they look like they must be cards.
I think yeah, I think because that game has a lot of more lot
And a
more.
lot more, and because they have the room for it too, right? Makes sense.
So I mean, I think this is a better turtle stance. I think this is just makes you imagine just like this is so much sustain.
Yeah.
And if this is level 1, like 10% lifesteal and plus 12 on hit, which scaling. I mean, if you're looking at tank deer, you're gonna be tanky as fuck.
Right.
So that's pretty good.
It
All right,
is.
let's move on to his E, Blazing Stampede, and of course Ornn. Stampede stance. Udyr gains 30% movement speed, decaying over 4 seconds. Additionally, Udyr's attacks in this stance lunge at and stun targets for 0.75 seconds. This effect is at a 6-second cooldown per target. So the first thing I can think of is he's gonna be able to go over walls. If someone's on an opposite side of a wall and he can like just walk up and be within whatever his like I'm gonna say like 225 attack range,
Mm-hmm.
he's probably gonna be able to lunge over a wall. If
Maybe they've been their big thing in the last few champions is not being able to go over walls with these dashes. So this is one of those ones we'd have to see in game, in the use
know.
in game.
Belveth can go over a wall.
Belveth can.
Neela technically can.
Who was it that just had one that? Yeah, they do that from time to time though. They definitely like. Oh yeah, by the way, I'm not going over a wall. So.
Zeri can.
Zeri definitely can. So that could be what makes me think too. Is like they'd be like, yeah, okay, you're not going over a wall. But
Awakened Blazing Stampede grants immunity to immobilizing and disabling effects, and an additional 32% movement speed for 1.5 seconds. So we are unstoppable, baby.
yikes.
We are not getting stopped by CC, which is something I guess he kind of suffered from because like because previous Udyr was just like I'm gonna run at you, and
Yep.
if you got hit with any CC, you just stop. So it's pretty cool that they gave him.
It could be hard to hit him with CC, which was kind of a benefit of his, right? Like he could just run past it or juke it or whatever pretty well. So I felt like that was at least like a decent counterplay, if that makes sense.
This gives you the I'm just
This
gonna
is a
run
better
straight
counterplay.
fucking
Yeah,
at you. Like,
right, right. Oh, and by the way, I found his LOL wiki page that they've updated. It says
okay,
Sejuani is his adopted daughter.
there you go. Okay,
So there you go.
cool. Okay,
Um,
here we
sorry, I know
go.
that was kind of unrelated, but
No, 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 no. It was still related.
okay. And then the R skills that were on, yeah,
Yes, sir.
the Wingborn Storm. If you didn't figure out that this is a Nivea, I got bad news for you. Storm stance. Udyr surrounds himself in a glacial storm for 4 seconds that deals 20 with the AP scaling magic damage per second to nearby enemies inside and slows them by 15%. Udyr's next 2 attacks in the stance deal 14, looks like scaling with level and magic damage to enemies in the storm. So they've kind of coupled the Anivia ulti with the Anivia E right there.
Yeah.
Not totally, but just sort of. And the Awakened, unleash the storm, excuse me,
Yeah, they yeah, exactly. They
causing it to seek a nearby
yeah.
enemy, I assume. Deals an additional 9.4% max health magic damage over the remainder of its duration. It says the storm moves toward Udyr's last attack target. So it kind of sounds like a... Actually, it sounds like a Victor ult mix with the Anivia Storm. That's kind of gross. I could see people trying to go the AP Udyr with this. That
I'm
seems pretty disgusting.
I'm just curious how hard it's gonna be scaling with
Right.
AP, because like, I mean, especially with this Q that also does max health damage.
Mm,
Whenever I see that, I'm just instantly like, okay, this is gonna be a tank, because like they're
right,
they're
right.
giving that tank
Yep,
extra damage.
yep, that's true.
How do you feel about it going from the flame to ice?
I'm not mad about it.
And well,
I'm
again,
not
you
mad.
know,
They kept. I mean, you had to choose, right? You either keep the Flame Phoenix or you roll into the Ice Phoenix, because that's what Anivia is an Ice Phoenix. So I don't think that's terrible. I'm not mad about that at all. I think it's interesting. If you want to keep it the theme, like let's pick a Phoenix that's in game. She's an Ice Phoenix. Fuck it, let's go for it. I think that works. There are a lot of people that are mad about that.
no, I don't think so. I think
Oh, okay. Just curious.
they're leaning, if they're gonna make him lean into the Freljord aspect, it
Right.
just makes so much fucking sense.
Right.
But I don't know. I think he's very similar, but he just gives him a little bit more, not utility, but it is give him a little more. What's the word I'm thinking of? Just they're we say this about every rework, but they're bringing him into 2022 to be able to keep up with all the other
Right.
fucking crazy champions.
Right. And that's the whole point, right? You want to make sure that these champions are relevant and can play ball with some of these other champions because sometimes they can't. Udyr, I wouldn't say he necessarily can't play ball. I mean, considering when Chemtank was busted, he was like a pro mainstay and also a solo queue mainstay. But champions like Yorick that were actually literally unplayable really needed that. There wasn't anything that made Yorick broken anymore at that point of the game. Mundo, he wasn't unplayable, but he didn't really offer much to the team anymore, and his kit was all over the place. That didn't even make sense. Scion was more or less the same, kind of unplayable like Yorick, but he had his moments depending on what was good at the time. Who else got a rework recently that I'm not thinking of?
I mean, last year was Mundo, right? So I'm trying to think of who was
Oh,
before.
Maokai had a rework too, right?
Yeah,
Sort of. It was more of an ulti rework. That was a mini rework. That doesn't really count. But
bring
yeah,
back
like
old
the
Maokai old. I'm just
right,
saying.
right, Vengeful Maelstrom.
Yep.
But my point is that it's trying to make them viable. Oh, Volibear was the other one.
Right.
Volibear, he wasn't unplayable. I mean, Trick played the hell out of him, but he was not playable in a professional sense. Nobody was playing him in a professional way. And that's a problem too. Like every champion should have some sort of viability in a professional game. Otherwise, they're just not worth being around realistically. And I know that sounds kind of weird and conceited, because there are some that, like Garen, probably doesn't really have viability in a professional game,
No.
but he's there for people to learn how to play the game, right? He teaches you lane management. Ashe does have professional viability, but she also teaches you how to play an attack speed champion that's relatively safe and has her own CC. She's a relatively easy champion, I think, if you ask me, compared to someone like a Jinx that's takes a little bit more skill, I think, with how you're playing her or whatever. So some of these champions are relevant, some of them aren't, but the beginner champions kind of teach you certain things, and in like, yeah, Lux isn't played in professional play, but she's still a champion that can play the game at a high level. And so yeah, just bringing these other champions in that can't even play at a high level, I think is important.
So what do you think? You think this is looking good?
It looks to me kind of the same, so I'm not sure what to think about it. I thought with all the time they were taking to make these changes, it was going to be a lot more different.
Yeah.
This doesn't feel too drastic to me at all.
You think how long they took? This is like I'm happy with this. I'm
Right.
fine with this, but this took how long? And this is
And I wonder how much COVID had to play into that too.
I think it did because I know he was supposed to come out earlier this year and just
Right.
shit. And I don't work for Riot. I have no idea. We shit on them all the time, right? But like, who knows what the fuck is going on the inside there? So it's like, I don't know, but it
They've
feels
struggled a lot with with some of the things that have come out. I mean, this event, which is kind of,
Oh yeah, we
eh,
can touch on that
we've
too.
talked about. I don't want to get there quite yet, but like, there's been some things that have just taken them forever to get out, and they're just not good when they do come out. And like I said, I just wonder how much COVID has to play into that response, or that I wouldn't call it lack of effort, but lack of deliverance.
Yeah, what do we do about it?
Yeah, right. What do we do about it is right.
I don't know. I'm excited. I'll play Udyr. I'll play him in the jungle a lot,
The
but
dude, dude.
Udyr, however Jat says it, Udyr, Udyr.
Udyr. And you know what's funny is I heard Jack kind of talking about it, and I think this was before it was revealed, earlier on JLXP. It sounded like he was a little worried, or was it JLXP, or was it last week on? Maybe it might have been last week on the broadcast. It sounded like he might have been a little bit worried about where the rework was headed, but I don't think he really knew a whole lot. I know he likes the champion itself.
Yeah, like we said, he's not on PBE yet, so I'm sure once people start playing him, they'll adjust him accordingly.
Right.
I'm
I
hyped.
think these numbers that are in here are probably boof, and I wouldn't even believe any of them, including cooldowns. Um, so think of all those skills guys without numbers. I just think they're not going to be accurate in the slightest.
Other than that, I think that's it. That's
Yeah.
Udyr. Thanks for
Yeah.
hanging in with a little bit longer of a Monday episode. But I'm sure you guys don't mind. We wanted to talk about Udyr as soon as possible too. So
Right. Right.
again, if you haven't watched the teaser trailer, go to Trick2G's channel and watch some gameplay of him in game.
Yeah.
Other than that, we'll be back on Wednesday. Hopefully, their patch. They're going to
Yeah,
be
that would be
smaller
great.
patches from now on until after Worlds, I think. So
That's what I believe I heard on JLXP this week. They should be smaller patches.
So otherwise, we'll see you on Wednesday. Make sure you follow, like, subscribe wherever you're listening or watching this right now. Leave a review, 5 stars. That's very helpful. Join
Oh,
our
friend.
Discord. We say this every episode. Join our Discord. Come chat with us. Come play games with
Yes.
us. We're generally always on. But yeah, guys,
Yes.
we will see you Wednesday.
Yes, we will. Have a good rest of your Monday.